Hello and welcome to my internship final presentation. I'm Mark Jeffrey Magauay and I'm a candidate of MA Educational Technology in Loyola University, Maryland. I'm currently working as a sixth grade science teacher and a member of Technology Committee at Charles Carroll Middle School in Prince George's County Public School System. I graduated cum laude from Philippine Normal University with a degree of Bachelor of Secondary Education major in chemistry. I was a former chemistry teacher at Fair Park High School in Shreveport, Louisiana, and in St. Jude Catholic School, Philippines. Me and my wife, Janice, are blessed with two children, Manliv and Margot. When not in school, I am active in church and community works and currently serving as a coordinator of CFC Kids in East Maryland. This internship is for my final requirement in Master of Arts in Educational Technology at Loyola University, Maryland. The goal of my educational technology internship is to provide my fellow educators a two-part webinar and a coaching sessions that can inform, educate, transform, and elevate their teaching through the employment of the PIC-RAT framework. Through the webinar, my internship intends to introduce the concept and need for PIC-RAT framework, reflect on current practices relating to the use of technology in education, identify reasonable pathways leading to meaningful technology integration across all content areas, deliver strategies and tools to implement the PIC-RAT framework, and build up teacher confidence in executing PIC-RAT teaching models in both traditional and virtual classrooms. I summarize my internship in three major parts: planning, processes, and products. Under planning includes preparation of materials, selection of technology tools, selection of topics, consolidation and conversations with Dr. Sarah Thomas and Dr. Roy Skimmons. This also includes drafting of the proposal processes and interview questions for Dr. Roy Skimmons. Under processes includes execution of the webinar and Tech Tuesday coaching sessions, conversations with attendees and potential participants, reflection journal and revisions, follow-ups and invitations, administration of the pretest and the post-test. Under products include participants' newly created accounts on Nearpod, Canva, and the creation of their Google Sites, Jamboard answers of teacher participants, pretest and post-test results, verbal feedback from invitees and attendees, recording of the webinar, and coaching sessions. Over here, you will see the different stages I have to go through during the internship. Some of these are documentations of my constant planning, presentation making, reflections, invitations, and promotion. In general, I would say that my internship had been successful. Some of the things I have accomplished and consider to be my achievements are the following. The webinar and the coaching sessions were implemented at the scheduled times and dates. The learning objectives and outcomes were met based on the test scores, feedback, and teacher outputs. There were teacher participants from different school districts, states, and country, teaching varied grade levels and content area. And last but not the least, the attendants were able to implement the session objectives right away. The next few slides are a collection of my products and my participants' products during this internship. These artifacts are so essential because without this, there is no way I could evaluate the effectivity of my work. This is the flyer I have created and posted on Facebook and in the PLN groups, EdTech Talk and EduMatch Publishing. Before officially starting with the webinar, I gave the viewers a prompt to answer in the comments section. Here is a preview of what is contained in the pretest given out to the attendees. This is the Jamboard task that our participants had to complete during the webinar, and this is in line with the standards, concepts measured and evaluated in the pretest. This slide shows the actual questions I have made and shared with Dr. Roy Skimmons prior to the live interview. My intention for creating this Google document is to be able to collaborate with him and allow him to prepare his responses for the prompts I'm going to ask during the webinar. This is the recording of the webinar. It began by Dr. Sarah Thomas' introduction of herself, and then she introducing me and Dr. Royce Kimmons to the viewers. This is the first slide as Dr. Royce Kimmons, the developer of the PIC-RAT model, discussed the history and rationale of the said framework. He also explained why this model is important in every classroom and how this model is different from other technology integration models like SUMMER, TPAC, TEAM, and LOTI. According to Dr. Kimmons, this framework considers the intersection of these two questions and is intended to foster discussions around what is the most effective use of technology for a particular lesson to maximize student engagement and achievement. While the argument can be made that having students can be creative is often more beneficial than having them be passive, and that using technology that transforms a lesson is a more useful integration of technology than one that simply replaces traditional practice. Teachers should be cautioned from assuming that the upper right square is where all the lessons should strive for. The student's relationship and the teacher's use of technology should be carefully examined through a lens of the learning goals. Start with what you want the students to do or achieve, and then make the technology assist with that. To begin implementing the model, teacher participants had to drag and drop each scenario and sort them out in accordance with the PIC-RAT model. Here's a snapshot of an actual participant's answer. Another product generated from this internship are the results of the pretest and post-test. We can clearly see the tremendous growth of teachers' understanding of the PIC-RAT framework after the interview and discussion with Dr. Kimmons. Up next is a screenshot of the registered participants in the Tech Tuesday's optional coaching session. On this slide, you will see the Zoom invite I have created for my potential participants on March 9th and March 16th. For our very first coaching session, I delivered a PD on Nearpod and realized that there are still many teachers out there who are not so proficient or familiar with the said platform. The following Tuesday, I did a session on Google Sites, and here's a recording of the said meeting. For the next session, I modified my flyer for a little bit, and this time I used the actual platform Canva to promote my session on Canva. As I was trying to share what I know with the other educators, I must say that I have gained a lot more for myself. It has boosted my self-confidence when I realized that I was able to hit several key concepts, touching on all of the three cores of the educational technology program. On the succeeding slides, you will see the various concepts I was able to highlight and achieve in the areas of teaching and learning, digital age learning, and leadership core. Key Concept 1.4. This webinar has been offered and open to all teachers of all ages, field, area of concentration, cultural background, and place of employment or residence. The speaker and facilitators also have different ethnic backgrounds and professional responsibilities, but have successfully demonstrated teamwork to achieve the common goal of providing valuable information through the use of internet and other tools such as StreamYard, YouTube, and Google Apps. Key Concept 4.2. To prepare for the actual webinar, I have created a Google document and share it with Dr. Royce Kimmons and Dr. Sarah Thomas, so that they can both be aware and be prepared to respond to the listed questions. We also had 2 Zoom meetings where we conducted our initial brainstorming activity and our final draft. Key Concept 5.1. I used a Jamboard to test the understanding of the teacher participants regarding the PIC-RAT framework, where they have to read and analyze scenarios and they have accurately categorized as stated in the said technology integration model. The chat box and Google Forms were also used to evaluate the background knowledge of the teacher participants about PIC-RAT. Key Concept 5.2. At the beginning of the webinar, I sent out a link to a Pretest to teacher attendees to serve as a benchmark when assessing them at the conclusion of the session. By using Google Forms, I can easily collect, analyze, and compare data between pre and post tests. I can also create graphical representations of data out of it so that they can be easily interpreted and used to inform the necessary future steps. Key Concept 6.1. This webinar has been offered, shared, and made viewable for all teachers and educators of all groups, racial backgrounds, and teaching needs. The webinar was presented live for real-time interaction but was recorded for all other interested individuals to view and learn from. The presenter and resource speaker shared the demonstrated some strategies and may be applied in actual classrooms like the sample scenarios in the form of a Jamboard activity. Key Concept 13.1. The PLNs, EduMuch and EdTech collaborated to invite and promote my webinar, which is also intended to help other professionals increase their understanding of the PIC-RAT framework and open doors for them to meet other educators that they can share with ideas with and help them grow professionally. Key Concept 14.2. With the help of Dr. Sarah Thomas, I was able to promote my webinar in two different professional learning networks, EdTech Talk, the one that I have created last year, and in EduMuch Publishing, the one created and managed by Dr. Sarah Thomas herself. We use StreamYard to connect our live video on PIC-RAT 101 on Facebook and YouTube. Key Concept 18.1. Through my Google site, I am able to link different resources that my colleagues and educators around the world can find beneficial for their own classrooms. The tools, apps, and reading materials plus lesson samples on my website is made public so that anyone who needs any of the aforementioned items can access it and use it. There were so many positive things that have happened during the internship. I was probably not able to list all of them here. However, I am very glad to share some of these glows. The preparation and planning time given was sufficient for me to have all my materials and resources ready. Dr. Sarah Thomas, one of my former professors, provided me with a huge amount of support, guidance, and encouragement. Dr. Roy Skimmons was a very humble, intelligent, and cooperative resource speaker. The previous conversations I had with Dr. Roy Skimmons and Dr. Sarah Thomas made it so much easier for me to interact with them during the live interview. The webinar attendees all gave a positive feedback regarding the session, the speaker, and the topic. The webinar attendees showed a positive increase in their post-test compared to their Pretest scores. The webinar session was conducted live for a real-time interaction with participants and attendees. The webinar session was recorded, posted, and made available into professional learning networks, EdTech Talk, and EduMuch Publishing for other people to view, watch, and learn from. These are the other glows that I have. Overall, those who have attended the webinar have stated that the session has been meaningful and relevant to them, specifically in terms of being more sensitive and responsive to their roles and to the relationship a student must have with technology. Although I understand that the entire process was not perfect, I'm still happy to be able to see the things that I could further improve so that I can prepare better for any future project. Some of the realizations I have are the following. When I began inviting for prospective attendees, most of them expressed that the PIC-RAT framework was not quite popular to them. They refused to register and not give it a chance to learn about it. Some teachers I have invited stated that they feel that webinars are just additional screen time and extra burden on their end. and will not really positively impact either their teaching performance or their students. The 1 hour session seemed to be not enough for them to really explore on or dig deep into the features of Nearpod. Most teachers don't find learning about tech tools as exciting as it used to be because their students do not show a decent level of interest on their lessons and activities. In addition, I only have one participant during this optional coaching session. The topic was not properly communicated and shared with the other potential attendees, thus resulting to poor attendance. I noticed that some participants feel uncomfortable whenever I mention about the PIC-RAT framework, and this is probably because they are unaware of the said model, or they just want to have more freedom when deciding about technology integration. Teacher buy-in is a very challenging stage. Some participants look for PDs that can help them elevate their teaching performance, but credits or incentives must be involved. In the absence of these two, there is no way that I can encourage teacher participation unless it will be mandated by someone superior to them. Through this internship process, I have gained a deeper understanding of the PIC-RAT framework. In particular, I have learned that the teacher and student's relationship with technology must be highly considered when planning for instruction, assessment, and progress monitoring. To have a valid and reliable data, we must make sure that we provide multiple and various opportunities for our students to interact, make use of, and benefit from technology and other related tools. I also have realized that the problem does not lie on the lack of professional development or coaching sessions offered to educators. The real concern is the lack of time and space for teachers to attend these kind of sessions. Understanding that every teacher's plate is full, it is a true challenge to make teachers participate in sessions like this. In the future, I'm looking forward to improve my professional development, coaching sessions, or collaboration with other educators. Some of the recommendations I have in my mind are the following. Start helping the people and the school I work with. In this way, I would have a better understanding of how to improve the session or the choice of topics highly needed to be discussed. Have a more specific target group. Helping teachers at random times and at random ways may not be easy to measure and evaluate. Promote and encourage more individuals in the future. Perhaps my sessions must also be open to school administrators and other stakeholders who can provide support to my professional development services. And of course, last but not the least, never give up. The topic and the time may not be found relevant by most educators, but the intention and goal of supporting one another, especially in facing the challenges of the current pandemic, is inevitable, crucial, and of utmost importance. I think I would like to put emphasis on these two components: experimental group and outsourcing. For the experimental group, I intend to have a specific group of people to coach so that I can provide a more accurate and more consistent mentoring and evaluation of the program. When it comes to outsourcing, I also plan to partner with a school or with an institution who can extend their support, share resources, and help me in promoting and sustaining my coaching project. In this way, I would be able to reach out to those who are seriously in need and committed to learn and to grow through this course, under my professor's mentorship and through the vision and mission of Loyola University. It is indeed an honor to have had a taste of quality of education and a collective set of wonderful experiences in the last 2 years. Thank you for this golden opportunity.